Attention, the host and video creator, otherwise known as Alex Echo, is not affiliated with any of the organizations featured within this video. Any and all statements by the video creator are reflective of their own personal views and not representative of any parties other than the Alex Echo account or its owner.
Your mama.
Attention everyone, please take your seats as we'll be starting the forum soon. No, we cannot. Okay, well, if we're ready to start, hello everyone. I would like to welcome you all to Loud and Local, a summer advocacy forum brought to you by Loudlight. My name is Alex. I'll be hosting today, and I would like to thank all of the organizations who have wonderfully shown up to participate. So we're going to talk to a few of the organizations here about their mission and how they make the world a better place. So go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Georgie. I work with 0 Reasons Why. We're a teen-led suicide prevention campaign. We started here in Johnson County in 2018 and have been chugging along ever since.
Hi, my name is Ruby. I use she, her pronouns, and I am with AIRR, Advocates for Immigrant Rights and Reconciliation. Yeah, we do work in both Kansas and Missouri.
Hello everyone, my name is Raja Khan, she, her pronouns. I'm with Loudlight, the organization hosting the event today with all of you. Loudlight is a nonpartisan nonprofit, and we try getting young people to be more civically engaged, but our main goal is to make sure that underrepresented communities have the resources and knowledge they need to keep their rights and communities safe. So I feel like that's all encompassing.
Very nice. Very glad to have all of you here. You know, in these interesting times, all of us, I'm sure, are asking ourselves how we can do our best to make the world a better place. And so we're going to ask these panelists a couple questions on, what their mission is and how they are, contributing to the world. So we'll go ahead and start with the first question, which is missions and values. How would you describe your organization's mission?
Well, I would describe our organization's mission as we just want to remove the stigma around teen mental health. One thing that I hear from teens pretty routinely is they feel like they're too scared to reach out because of stigma around mental health, or that they might not know the resources. So we just want to make sure that kids know that it's okay to reach out to people, and we also want them to know how and where to. So yeah, I would say that's probably our biggest mission.
Could you tell us about some of the advocacy opportunities, how you as an organization live your mission?
Yes, so we do a lot of storytelling. So we do believe that mental health stigma goes down by, seeing stories of similar people to you. So we do passively get stories on our website. So if you're interested in sharing your mental health journey, we have a place to do that on our website. And so that's one way. We also go to Advocacy Day, which is probably my favorite event of the year, and we just talk to senators and representatives about mental health and what the teens are experiencing in their schools, and just try to advocate for better mental health policies. Another thing we do is we host community forums where we just bring community members together to talk about a mental health topic. This most recent one that we did was on just community and what it means to have community and what it means to not have it and how that might impact mental health. So yeah.
Well, that's tremendous. What a wonderful mission. Okay. Well, go ahead and pass that microphone down the line. And the same question to you. How would you describe your organization's mission? And then obviously advocacy. How do you guys fulfill it?
I actually came ready with the mission, but I'm going to read it. So I would say the biggest part of our mission that I feel is education and leadership development. I think a huge part of our work as being an immigrant rights organization is the education piece. It's educating our allies on how to be a good ally and educating our own people on how to undo the years and generations worth long of, there's a word of it, our own oppression, and undoing that, really getting to, education. And I would say that we do that through everything. A lot of people think that we're a service organization, but we're actually an advocacy organization, and we hope to get to be a power one day. And we have monthly meetings with all of our base. Our impact huddles are my favorite time of the month, which is where all our different volunteer groups come together and give a short 10-minute presentation on what's going on with their campaigns and where they need some extra support from everybody else in the base. I think we do leadership development in a really awesome way, as really sharing the work all together. I feel like I say this at every single meeting every month, but this work is heavy and it's a lot of work, and it feels less heavy when we're all carrying it together.
Well, that's tremendous. Very nice to hear. Now let's go ahead and hear from Loud Light. Go ahead, Bridget.
Alrighty, so I feel like as stated previously, our mission is to ensure that our communities, underrepresented communities, are educated. They have a place where they can take action as well. But our focus within that mission is trying to get young people to come out and learn how to be an activist within their own community. So hopefully one day we're out of a job. Maybe not, but kind of. Some of the ways we put our mission into action is very timely, depending what's happening in the season. So during legislative session, we take a lot of our community members to the State House, and there's quite a few of you who have been with us to the State House. We go meet with our elected officials. We take you as private citizens, and you all talk about issues you care about, and we provide you the information. At the end of the day, it is very important to see who's representing you, and that in itself is knowledge, is education, because outside of that, we host events where we're like teaching people how do you create a voter guide for yourself, or how do you educate yourself on like what does the system look like for the elected officials to be in those roles, like what powers do they have. But outside of that, we try putting it into practice for people as well. And I think similar to AIR, like we also heavily focus on leadership development. I am new to teaching people, so I'm trying my best, but in our monthly community action teams, we try getting young people to become those leaders and help host events like this, or like going out and taking action through art and going and painting our city with beautiful art that says go out and vote, which is an event happening in August. Shameless plug, yes. But that's, those are just some of the ways we put those words into actual action.
Now, in terms of the communities that you represent, in terms of outreach, could you specify which particular communities each of your organizations seeks to represent and do work for? Yeah, you can start. We'll ping pong it back and forth.
Love it. So for us, we have 5 issue areas that we cover: voting rights, LGBTQ plus rights, immigrants' rights, reproductive rights, and racial justice. So anyone who falls under those categories, we are trying our darnest to represent you all. But our main focus, like the population we are trying to get to become activists with us, is usually like 18 to 35-year-olds, but everything is open to everyone. Hopefully that answered the question.
Yes, that did. Thank you.
We are called Advocates for Immigrant Rights and Reconciliation, so I think that's pretty basic on its own. I would say that our universe looks like people who are pro-immigrant in Kansas and Missouri. We're definitely more local. I want to say Kansas City metro area. We also do legislative session, which is crazy. Right now we're entering our electoral session, and we'll be super local to Wyandotte County. We're actually looking for some fellows if you want to apply to our fellowship. And yeah, pro-immigrant people in the state of Kansas and Missouri.
I have a question, actually. Now, in terms of outreach, have you guys found a particular medium that's most effective in terms of reaching your community or outreach, like getting them to the door so that you guys can pull them through it to do this advocacy work?
Really good question. Now I'm blinking on what do we do to get people in the door. This year, we have gotten a lot of people to our doors, so I feel like we haven't had to do as much outreach for real as we've had other years. Like for example, in the past few years, for one of our biggest programming that we do is our Know Your Rights presentation, where we go over our rights regardless of status based on the Constitution. And to give you an example, in the past few years, we'd be lucky to have like 10 to 15 people at a presentation. Sometimes we would have nobody show up because it's a scary thing to think about and talk about. This year, in our first Know Your Rights presentation this year, we had over 100 people. We had a goal. We had our goal for the year to be 25 Know Your Rights presentation. by the end of February, we had done 42. So yeah, I think definitely our programming. I guess that's what answers it is our programming, our direct services that we do. Yeah, I want to say that.
Great answer.
Okay. Can you repeat the question, please?
Of course, yes. So obviously, putting it into practice is one thing. It's very important, probably the most important part. But in terms of getting people to the door to pull them through and out into the world of advocacy so they can begin, supporting the mission, what has your organization found to be the most effective method of, getting people excited and involved? What's your methodology look like?
I think for teens, because that's the target population for us at least, I mean, we want everyone to be involved in Zero Reasons Why, but again, we do target teens and we think teens are the center of the movement. And for me, the thing that I've seen work best is just word of mouth. We're having a meeting or we're having an event, would you come to this? And bring a friend or two. Word of mouth is really important for teens, and just having a friend that is somewhat involved in being hey, I'm going to this tonight, would you be interested in coming? I think that's just the biggest thing for us is just, how do we find those people within Zero Reasons Why and then just get them to expand from there.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I'm sorry, Ms. Richard-Khan. Please feel free to answer the question. I did skip over on that one, my bad.
No, you're okay. I just answered it differently. Honestly, recruiting people, it's very seasonal. There are times that people are more on social media, they're more responsive to their emails. So really, there is no one correct way for us to reach people. But I will say, this year during legislative session, we had a lot of people sign up for our newsletters. We've had a lot of people sign up to watch the weekly recap videos as to what's happening on the state level. And through that, anytime I see somebody sign up in my area and I'm hey, do you want to go for a coffee? How about tea if you don't like coffee? So yeah, it just again depends on what's more popular and where people are at.
Very nice. In terms of the events that your organizations all collectively put on for the community and whatnot, what have you found to be the most effective in terms of actually drumming up that real excited nature of that advocacy work requires?
How do you define success for an event is the real question. Because if you're categorizing that how many people are coming, or if your criteria is people are coming, but then they leave and then return for another event and they're actually learning something and taking action, I think that's where it's kind of difficult to decide which one's more successful. But me being in the role only for not even a year yet, I don't think I have an answer, but I can answer what my personal favorite is, the one that I think has the most shock value for people. I will say it's the legislative sessions when you take people to go meet their elected officials. I can tell you in a room, hey, your elected officials are doing this. But when you go speak to them and you hear the words coming out of their mouths, you yourself now have the evidence in front of you as to what is happening, if you are being representative correctly or not. And then you decide what the next actions are. So that's my answer.
Right. There was no right answer, by the way. This is just networking, data collection for everyone. So continue, go ahead.
I would think for AIRR, it'd be our tabling events. And I think that's not an event that we host. I would want to go with the Know Your Rights presentations again. And it really depends. So our monthly meetings that we've had them since 2020 with our volunteers, and they've always been in Spanish. This year, though, we had to start our new programming because of our current administration and with ICE raids happening. And I want to say that our second to most attended events are our rapid response trainings that we do. We have over 160 people, volunteers who are trained and have filled everything, but I want to say we've trained over 300 volunteers just this year. Not everybody has continued, but and that is a very heavy ally space. We ask that our responders are not people who are directly impacted, But then we have our Know Your Rights, who are also the second most attended, but that's definitely not an ally space. That is more directly impacted folks who go to those. So yeah, I think it just depends who shows up to each.
I would agree and say that Advocacy Day and like legislative sessions are probably my favorite event, and then I just feel like the most successful event that we host year to year. This year, Zero Reasons Why had the biggest population at the Mental Health Advocacy Day we went to, and so we all showed up in our shirts, and it people knew who we were, and we were able to talk to legislators. And I think one thing that adults in power do frequently is underestimate teens and the youth. And so meeting them face to face and, showing them how well our teens can speak and how well they can articulate the issues they're facing is super important. And we also host community forums like I was talking about earlier where, we talk about those community topics, but this year we had legislators come from both sides of the aisle, and, Tim DeWeese, who's the director of Johnson County Mental Health, was like, I've never seen any of these people at events before, and some of these people are hardliners against mental health, and came up to me and were like, I want to fund you. And that's directly because of what our teens were talking about. So I think those are our most impactful moments, when we just get to platform our teenagers and put them in front of adults and people that make decisions and show them just how much teens can do.
Well, that's awesome. It's so cool hearing about all of the opportunities and events that you all put on and have. And I'm sure it's a great boon to the community, so it's really cool to hear. Now that we've talked about advocacy, getting people involved and then actually doing the work, let's talk about sort of the after effects and things to look out for without being specific. These are difficult times, interesting times, and I think learning about safety and how going about advocacy work is also very important to discuss. And this is just one I got written down, but have there been any recent events, positive or negative? You don't have to go into anything specific that have impacted the work that you do that people should be aware of.
They are getting rid of the LGBTQ plus hotline. I mean, that's a devastating impact that we're going to be facing. But I will say Johnson County Mental Health Center is who funds us, and they have been great about providing resources and, being like, we're still going to be here for LGBTQ youth. So yeah, I mean, just making space for everyone in the population, just everyone, I think is super important. So, I mean, we've been impacted in certain ways, but, we have resources here to help everyone. So 988 is still there, but unfortunately the LGBTQ plus hotline is going away. So that's very unfortunate.
I don't even want to say what I want to say. Yeah, we've had some challenges this year. I think the biggest example I want to go to again is we had our goal for 25 Know Your Rights presentations this year. We have over 40. It's probably more by now. Yes, thank you. Yes, I want to say every day I see news that scares the crap out of me every day, and it's just tough times. And I think really leaning into our community, we've been really bad, and we actually need to get way better at this. But just creating more fun times where we're not on any agenda, where we're not on any time, we're just having fun and sharing a plate together. We need to start doing that more.
This is a very fun question because I feel like there's a lot that could be said, and I feel like most of us understand the things we aren't saying necessarily. But I feel like this year, with policies that were passed in Kansas, our communities were heavily affected. Again, Loud Light focuses specifically in Kansas, so that's why I'm going to just stay in that area. Knowing that the people elected are no longer representing the populations that technically they ought to represent was one of the biggest hurdles. And when you go out, and if you ever go on social media, I like to say we're very spicy. If somebody is lying to us behind closed doors, we are going to let people know that, hey, this is what they said to us. Now you choose to do whatever you may with that knowledge. And seeing that a lot of us are just our activism being so public puts us on a list, and we know that. We know that hosting certain events might be dangerous for us, but then we go back and we create safety protocols where we're like, okay, this is plan A. If plan A doesn't work, plan B, C, and D. And knowing that we even have to think about that is very sad, but it also kind of historically shows that maybe we're doing something right. Because if you're not in their peripheral view where they actually care about what you do, maybe we ought to be doing more. And if you're already doing a lot, continue doing it. I'll be right there with you. But I hope I answered the question.
No, that's perfect. You actually kind of answered like the next question I had, which was, obviously responding is important, but what do the next steps look like in the face of adversity, any hurdles, hostility, backlash, even threats to the mission or members? What are your next steps typically as an organization? You obviously spoke about the protocols that Loud Light has in place, but could you tell us a little bit more about your guys's in terms of these hurdles that you have to overcome?
We had to start a new programming this year that we had not done since 2016 election. And that has come with a lot of hurdles. And I think, we knew this was, we didn't know, but last year around our evaluation times, we had to prepare for the worst. So I think we came in pretty mentally and physically prepared with programming for this year. And we're a very small team. We have, it's crazy, we have 5 people now, but we used to only be 2. And so I think we did a really proactive way of going about it. We trained a bunch of volunteers early on, and now we have a really awesome network. And we continue to, I feel like every day with immigration, y'all, it's like, and I'm sure y'all know, with immigration, every day is a new something. When you have a lot of people, there's just a lot of different conversations to have had. And yeah, I think we're doing a pretty good job, which is crazy to say. We are.
I would say for us, the biggest thing is just making teenagers feel welcome into the movement, but also having them know their resources at the same time. People think of 988 as a suicide hotline. It is, but it's also a mental health crisis hotline. If you can't afford therapy, you can reach out to 988 if you're really going through, a hard time. If you're having an anxiety attack or something like that, you can reach out, and you can text, you can call. And then, with teens, I remember being a teen and just not really having a community, period. Like, I maybe had 1 or 2 friends, but it was kind of sporadic, and friends would change, and that's just a hard time to be a person developing a lot of feelings, and having to choose colleges and all that stuff. It's so hard. So we just try to create a shared space for teens where they can talk about those problems together, and we just want to make sure everyone feels welcome. So that's just kind of our next step, just making sure that we welcome teens in with open arms and make them feel welcome.
Well, that's great. It's always good to have a plan, and I'm glad to hear that from all of you. Now, in terms of preparation, planning, and obviously things will change over time, but how have your organizations adapted over the past 2 years? Have there been pretty significant changes in your advocacy, or tell us what it's been like so far, recently?
Yeah, so I would say for a long time, and we started as a suicide prevention campaign, which we still are, but now it feels like the mental health world is just its own beast. So we just want to expand that to mental health awareness, because mental health awareness is a key part to choosing to not choosing to end your life by suicide. And so I feel like that is just a huge part for us. We just want to, on a weird tangent, and now I lost my thought. But sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah.
I was rambling.
Just how has your advocacy work changed in the past year?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so suicide prevention to mental health awareness and suicide prevention, because mental health, it's its own beast, and we need to talk about everything as a solution, not just, suicide prevention. We want to talk about everything.
I've been with AIRR since 2020. I started as an intern. I was at Donnelly College, and it was my first year of college, and I applied to this internship that I knew nothing about community organizing, and I wanted to be an engineer. And I was like, you know what? I'm like naturally involved in advocacy, so let me just see what it is. And I never thought about engineering ever again. I'm really glad I didn't. But AIRR has changed dramatically since I started, all because of me. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. It's changed even just in the past 2 years. When I was an intern, we were just running around saying yes to everything as a nonprofit individual. You know, yes, I'll help you with your scholarships. Yes, I'll help you do this, and we'll figure it out. And in these past 2 years, we've become this beautifully sustainable organization who has 5 full-time people on it. We have so many beautiful volunteers who do all this work. Like, there's times where all 5 of us are sitting at a meeting and an emergency comes up and I'm like, wait, we gotta go, like, why are we still? And it's like, wait, no, like, we got so many people now. It's not just 2 of us. Yeah, I think our programming has came down to like clear steps. I created a really fancy document last year for organizing, which is like, whoa, AIRR's got a fancy document of like everything that we do and how we do it. And we have a full Zoom subscription and a Canvas subscription, which like sounds like the smallest, right? Like it sounds like the smallest thing, but we used to have conversations around like what systems are we gonna use? We just started using every action. I hated it at first, but it's turned out to be really cool. So yeah, I think it's definitely changed for the better, and it's been beautiful being able to be here and see, like, I feel like I go to places now and people know of us, and I'm like, oh my god, I feel so famous. Stop it.
You are famous. I will say, yeah, like systems internally have improved, having like every action and just like a more planned out system of what kind of events are we hosting intentionally. But I feel like for Loudlight, a lot of our functioning changes year to year depending on what kind of laws have been passed. A lot of one of the reasons why Loudlight started was because of voting rights, going out and getting young people registered to vote because they weren't as civically engaged as the rest of the population. So that is how we began. And a few years ago, like, our state house was like, you know what? You can't go do door-to-door canvassing because you're trying to, what is it called? Yeah, you're impersonating, that's the word. We got there, and impersonating an election official. So if you do that, jail for you. Actually, they didn't say jail. I don't exactly remember what the repercussions were, but that was funnier to say. So they do that, and now, again, one of our main things is going door to door, making sure people are registered to vote. So we couldn't do that for a while. But then us, alongside other organizations, we went and we sued the state for taking away our right to do that. And we won, you guys. Yeah. And so now, last year was the first year we were able to get people registered to vote. But then again, we lost the fight on, mail-in ballots, like grace period for those. If you do not know what that is, please ask me later. I can talk about it forever. So like, again, it depends on what's happening. So sorry, I can talk for hours. But like, it's just, again, no year is the same because no policy each year remains the same.
Well, that's great. Well, we know who you are, what you guys do, and all that's left is for the people in the crowd here to know how they can get involved with you and what that commitment looks like. So go ahead and feel free to answer the final question. And do we have time to open up to the crowd? Okay, cool. All right, so go ahead.
So if you want to be involved in Loudlight, depends on what you want to do. We can find something for you to do if you just want to be. So let's say you're 18 to 35-year-old. We have monthly meetings. Come to those. I'll provide some snacks that you might insult because they might not be up to your standard. But I will give you, I'll train you in different areas. If you're a person who wants to just like volunteer at events, alrighty, I will keep you in mind because I can't do any of this on my own. So time commitment is all dependent on what you can do. It can be as I guess, easygoing as you want it to be, but if you want to be heavily involved, I will make sure you do exactly what I do. Other than that, if you want to be involved, reach out to me or go onto our website and sign up.
To be involved at AIRR, you have to take a really hard test to prove that. I'm just kidding. No, you can talk to any of us at our table here today. We'll definitely have you fill out another form, and we will definitely have you go to one of our monthly meetings. My personal favorite is Impact Tunnel meetings, which is where our different volunteer groups present on what they're doing. They're not update meetings, those are boring, and they don't help us build power. So they are meetings where we go over strategy, we go over what's happening with different campaigns, and there's always call to actions for everybody in the room. These meetings are invite only. We don't post them on social media, we don't send them out in our newsletter. Doesn't mean that you can't bring people, it means you can definitely bring people, just please don't send it out into group chats or social media. Safety is something that we've had to integrate. We have security at all our meetings now. And yeah, if you feel a little shy to come talk to us today, it's okay. You can fill out our volunteer form online. We have volunteer orientations once a month. If you want to go to those, they're a little boring. and we kind of did it here today already. We really just go over like AIRR's history, and it's a lot of dates that I never remember. And yeah, come talk to one of us.
So the easiest way to get involved with us only takes 5 minutes. If you go to our website, zeroreasonswhy.org, there's a share your story button. Sharing your story helps to remove the stigma around mental health. Teens like to see, that adults also have mental health problems too, struggles too, other teens, and everything. So the easiest way to get involved is taking 5 minutes out of your very busy day to share your story of your mental health journey. Even if you're not, someone that's had mental health struggles before, maybe you know someone that has, maybe, you're just really passionate about the cause and want to tell people that they will be okay eventually. Like, it's up to you. It's prompted, so you don't really have to come up with anything like specific. You can just kind of go based off the questions. So that's one way. Another way is just coming to our community forums. We post them on our Instagram and our Facebook and our Eventbrite, so we always post about them. Sharing with teens that you might know about Zero Reasons Why. Basically, just follow us on our socials, and if you want to get involved, we will find a spot for you. There's just so many different ways that we can do that, but sharing your story is the first way, and probably one of the most impactful.
Oh,
Sorry.
Wow. Well, this has been great. It's been really cool getting to know all of you and learning about all of your advocacy work. But now we're going to be opening up the floor to the crowd over here. If you guys have any questions for any of our panelists here, feel free. I'll go ahead and hand the mic around.